just out there having the best time. We are.
Ready?
I'm ready, sir.
I'm ready too.
They won't find it.
Call the Metropolis City Council to order Monday, May the 14th, 2017. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Here.
Canada.
Here.
Hall.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Short.
Here.
And Davis.
Here.
Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for prayer. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come tonight with heavy hearts, dear Heavenly Father, for the loss of our brother and fellow councilman, Mr. McGuire's. Dear Heavenly Father, be with his family. Be with our city council, dear Heavenly Father, for the ones that have issues, dear Heavenly Father. Guide and direct their lives. Be with the caregivers. Be the ones in our communities, dear Heavenly Father, that within the last 7 days, dear Heavenly, have tragedy. Be with our families and the caregivers. Be with our nation, dear Heavenly Father. Be with our country. As we as leaders, dear Heavenly Father, each and every decision that we make here tonight, dear Heavenly Father, will be for the betterment of the community. Be with our armed service personnel, not only on foreign ground, but here in the United States. Guide and direct their lives, bring them safely home to their families. We ask in thy precious name. Amen. Need a motion to approve the meeting of the 4/23/18.
Oh, we made a correction on page.
What's wrong with that?
Here. Okay, thank you.
Motion made by
On
Mr.
page
Hall.
4, it should be easy to find.
Who did we have?
We don't have a second, they've already, they're all speechless. Thank you, sir.
I'll second with the change.
Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Davis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Citizens request. I think we're all family out there. Mayor's report. First item on the mayor's report. It's my honor to introduce Scott Darnell, the Topeka Economic Development President. Scott. Scott is not only, Scott is over the back row, but Scott is actually a very good friend of Sue Barfield's and myself, and a good friend of the city of Metropolis.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you for allowing me tonight. I'll be brief. I think I come before you, was it a little over a year ago or a year ago? It was not in my notes, I forget. But a little update on Pack Rose. We're a reuse organization for the gas use diffusion plant. And of course, over the years, that mission's changed. We're in a cleanup phase. The federal government's kind enough to go at a great pace. It's going to take them about 45 years to clean this thing up, they say. They built it in 45 to tear it apart. So things change over time. Democrats and Republicans fighting, I guess. But, you know, at the end of the day, we've got about 1,300 people work out there, and that mission's going to continue. It costs about $270 million a year to run that operation. And when the downsizing of the plant was going to occur, of course, they looked at the communities most economically affected. There was 4 in Kentucky. That was McCracken County, Graves County, Ballard County, Marshall County, and then 1 in southern Illinois, and that's why we're here tonight, City Metropolis. The mission was really to offset some of the downsizing. We're blessed that we downsized really from about 1,700 at the peak to about 1,300. You know, some of them make less, some of the benefits are different, but in the overall scheme of things, it's is not as bad as it could have been, so we're fortunate there. One of the things that was left behind was different grant funds, returned in revolving loan funds. The city of Metropolis, along with the 4 other communities, had used that in the past associated with the spec building. And we were operating a revolving loan fund. And when I come to you last year, I talked about selling assets, so I'll give you an update on that, and then operating as a revolving loan fund. You know, the great thing about revolving loan funds, you have money to lend. The bad thing about revolving loan funds is you have to lend money. Banks are good at lending money. We were okay at lending money. My MO, the board agreed, was I don't want to give loans to undercut a local bank. I don't think that's good for communities. But I also don't want to give loans to companies that the banks don't want to give loans to either. We had some success with the loans, but as we started looking at our cash position, we had a lot of money in the bank. Having money in the bank as a nonprofit is usually not a good thing, especially for the administrator. So we wanted to look at some different things. And one of the things, the sales of the assets have picked up. And we've elected to do 2 different paths. One is we offer a lot of these assets to our 5 local governments first. And the city of Metropolis was the recipient of some very heavy, very expensive file cabinets. If everything burns down, you're going to have 11 or 12 file cabinets still sitting, and this building's going to be gone. We're going to continue doing that. There's a lot of things that are offered, you know, mowers, concrete mixers, and all that. But how do we provide value to our 5 member counties, or 4 counties in one city? That's step 1, and that's ongoing. The second thing is looking at the revolving loan fund. Was that amount of cash in the bank the highest best value for what we could do, or do we look at something different? We started this process really about 9 months ago with the Department of Energy, federal government, and said, you know, we want to do something different with this money. I think we provide better value than the loans, and they agreed with that. So we went to a grant process, and the way that grant process looked is we looked at some of the money we were getting over the next few years, and we were going to grant that in the form of grants, and I'll tell you what that is shortly. Also, the sale of the assets, everything's not offered to local governments. There's a lot of metals, recyclables, and other things. So we sell stuff. And we're excited that some of those local contractors involved in those transactions are from the city of Metropolis. So we're going to continue doing that. But, you know, we sell things. And, you know, we sell things from, you know, file cabinets, recyclable metals, leftover coal. And then that money goes back in this fund to fund different things, in this case grants. So we looked at our cash position, and we looked at the needs of communities, and we gave grants away. And those grants are totaling $1.6 million over the next 3 years. And we divided that money evenly among the 4 counties and 1 city. We thought, you know, we're working well together. It's great teamwork. We're all in this together. So one doesn't get more than the other, and I lived through that process, considering it's in my backyard. But that amount was immediately $200,000 to each government. And that government, that $200,000 was the mayor and Ms. Barfield, and you decide what you want to do. It's for economic development. You know, what is economic development? Economic development is what helps the city of Metropolis. You're the ones that need to define that, not us. You know, you listen to the constituents, you understand where money's going, you're able to match monies, you're able to draw on different funds, but that $200,000 is for you to choose, and the mayor fills out an application, comes to board meeting, asks for it, and we vote on it and give it to you. Along with that $2,000, another $50,000 will be granted to that fund for the city of Metropolis on January 1 of 2019. Then another $50,000 on January 1 of 2020. As assets continue to be sold, you know, we'll reevaluate those funds. It's not going to be $1.6 million. We did give some to some educational institutions that are involved in workforce development initiatives. But a majority of it went to those 4 Kentucky counties and city of Metropolis, all evenly split. As we sell those assets again, besides what we offer you at no cost, we'll reevaluate that. If it's $100,000 and we're running the operation efficiently, you know, then there's no reason we don't divide that and continue the mission. So things are going well. We got 13 employees. We just granted $1.6 million, and we're we're looking at getting more assets back to the use of local government. And then those future funds that come in, we'll look at doing the same process over and over. So things are good. You're a tremendous partner. The mayor and Ms. Barfield are tremendous supporters. There's great synergy. That's why we're able to do this. And we want to be a good partner. I want to be the guy that shows you, not tells you, but that money's available. And the mayor's been, again, Ms. Barfield, been tremendous partners, and we look forward to continue that partnership moving forward and let us know better how we can be a better partner if we can. And, we're excited what we're doing with the proceeds. And again, thank you for being a good partner and allowing me to be here tonight. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, sir. Any questions?
I will say that, we've, in the city, have been very fortunate to have a representative of, in Miss Barfield. She has been a true person that sat on that board. She fought for what the city of Metropolis needed, but on the other hand, she supported every other county in that agency. Mr. Darnell is the same way. If all of our agencies operated with the sincere goal that Scott has, not only the state of Kentucky, but the state of Illinois would be much better off. He fought for the city of Metropolis, even though we're the only ones in Illinois, but we have participated in their program. We borrowed money from them, we paid money back, and I agree 100%. We paid our dues, and I felt like we should have the same thing the rest of them did. And I didn't get thrown out of that meeting either. But it has been a good meeting, and I will say that we, I filled out, Tricia kind of helped me just a little bit. Anyway, we have filed our first petition to application for the first $50,000 out of that grant money, and I'm happy to say I will. I always hate to say what it is before we get it, but I'm certain we're going to get it, and that's to aid the Friends of Fort Massett. So we'll be moving forward with that. We actually have a PAC row meeting this Wednesday.
3
and,
o'clock. Yes, sir.
And I actually sent an email back that I will be there. Hopefully we can get that started, get it voted on, get it approved, and get going that way. When the first project comes up, it's going to be something that the city of Metropolis can be proud of for economic development, and it's something that is very much needed. So after they get it all done, we will be a kind of a poster child. They can come over and look at the end results, and we'll all be proud of that. So Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very much so.
Appreciate it.
Sue, do you have anything you wanted to?
No, I think Scott said it all. It's been a pleasure working with him over the years, but I'll have to say, Scott's been the best one we've had to work with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda, motion to accept closing Metropolis Street from 3rd to 4th on Saturday, June the 16th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the purpose of the annual Farm Frizzy hosted by the Massat County Farm Bureau and Metropolis Public Library.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mr. Neal, second by Mr. Hall. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item, motion to accept the updated 2018 Emergency Operation Plan as presented by the Office of Emergency Management. This is something that we have to do and an update every 2 years. This will bring us up to compliance until the year 2020.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Short, second by Mr. Lewis. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal. Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item. motion to accept hiring the 2018 city pool staff as presented. I think all of you had a list in your packets from Ms. Abel.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Hall, second by Mr. Lewis. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
We actually put this out and we wanted to go ahead and lock this in. Ms. Abel come and talked to me last week. There was a big demand for these young folks and stuff like that in the pool industry in the summertime through the cities and things like that. There's just, they have a hard time keeping enough qualified people. Ms. April certainly didn't want any of our people not to know whether they're gonna have a job or not and seek employment someplace else. Now, the pool doesn't open until the week after the Labor Day,
Right, June
or
5th.
Memorial Day.
June 5th,
Alright.
because the kids go to school through June 4th. So we're opening the next day, which is a really weird, we're opening on a Tuesday at noon. But we're gonna open.
Everyone works for us.
That's right.
Anyway, we wanted to secure or to make sure the young people knew that they were gonna have a position, but we're not going to hire them until it's time to hire.
No, we're not gonna work them.
Yeah, yeah, right. They will not be being paid
Right.
until the time to be
Right.
paid, so. Next item. Chris, is there anything else you need to say about the pool or anything?
No, oh, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Thanks to Frank and Stoney, our back truck is going to suck the pool out this year. We're going to use that this year instead of having the lifeguards down there and spend 4 days trying to clean it out. You don't tell Allison that, Donald. But then I talked to Frank and to Stoney, and we're gonna work it out where we can use the back truck to get that out of there. It'll be a lot quicker and a lot easier.
And
That was dangerous.
we have one other thing to be thankful for. Our own city water department actually winterized our pool and everything. We opened it back up last week and then we did not have one leak, so that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Next item on the agenda. Motion to suspend the rules and place an ordinance authorizing the sale of other disposable of personal property.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
It's gonna be 2018-09.
Dash 09.
Yes, sir.
All right. We have a motion, we have a second. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Need a motion now to adopt an ordinance authorizing the sale of the property.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Hall, second by Mr. Neal. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think, probably everything, in the opening was discussed. It is, sad times in, our city council, comes to the fact, it is kind of family. We actually spend, a lot of time, a lot of hours with each other and stuff like that. The thing that, through the years has really impressed me, and it's not, every issue is not just smooth sailing sometimes, it's, that's why you got a council of 8. When one does leave or passes on, it's always, in that 4-year term, you establish a relationship with each other that it's kind of like it's just a bond that you make and stuff like that. And it's always sad when one leaves and someone goes on, it's not sad because you have elections, it's sad maybe because of the relationship you've established. But it's terribly sad when someone, just in a blinking of eye, we actually left here at the last city council meeting, 8 o'clock. 10 o'clock, Mr. McGuire was actually on his way to Vanderbilt. It's just a sad situation for the family. So keep his family in your prayers. And we as individuals, we don't know whether we're going to be here tomorrow or not. So let's treat everybody very, very professional. Realize that none of us is perfect, and support each other. All right. I'm through preaching. Corporate council report.
Got no preaching to do. You said it all.
Well,
Pass the
watch
mic.
out for next time. Committee reports, planning and zoning, Chad.
Last week, on May 2nd through 4th, I was in Springfield, Illinois, attending the Illinois Enterprise Zone Spring Conference. The Illinois Enterprise Zone Association is a group of zone administrators and consultants that get together about twice a year. And we get a chance to meet with some fellows from ladies and guys and girls from Illinois Department of Revenue, talk to us about reporting and project creations of our zone projects. There's always representatives there from DCEO, the Department of Commerce, Economic Opportunity. It's kind of a slow year. A lot of the 97 zones within the state have been recertified. There's new zones, and there's this competitive fever that's been going on over the past couple of years has kind of died down a little bit. So the conference wasn't quite as exciting over the past couple of years with a lot of pending applications out there. But it's still nice to see everybody and get some information and feedback on what they expect and how things are changing. Some of the projects that you always get to sit around and listen to, like the City of Springfield gave a presentation from their TIP director of what's called an Enos Park neighborhood redevelopment project, where they created what was called a land bank. And in doing so, they have control over those properties. They established what was called conservation easements, and they're able to sell those properties to people with guarantees of how they'll develop them, with the historic nature of the community involved. It's a very nice kind of artsy part of town where a lot of young people have moved to, started buying up these properties and fixing them up. Guy from Money, Illinois showed up. If you're not familiar with Money, it's a south suburb of Chicago, I believe. And they did about an 856,000 square foot Amazon distribution center, about 1,000 jobs. They guaranteed to double about every year around Christmas time. Funny thing about this, they're all about $15 an hour jobs. And all the school districts there lost their $12 an hour bus drivers. And so the school districts had to kind of up their pay a little bit to keep everything going. The other thing, the facility is totally automated. The shelving system comes to the employer and to the employee stocking the products, and nothing is arranged like you typically arrange it. Everything's ran off computer algorithms to make sure that when you place your order on Amazon, it all kind of gets organized and brought to that person automatically when it gets shipped out. It took about 13 months to complete, and with doing this, they were able to build another 850,000 square foot spec building. Give you some comparison, ours out here is about 40,000 square feet, so really good things going on. They did a redevelopment project with all the roads and highways. Pretty neat project. Guy had some aerial footage and stuff like that. Finally, we met, there was a gentleman from Renewtech. Renewtech does OEM charging stations for electric cars. So his thought is this: it's going to happen one way or another. You're going to see, and you're going to see them on interstates, and they're going to be all over. And you're going to change the whole experience when it goes to filling up your car with gas. Because you're not going to sit there for 5 minutes and get a tank of gas. You're going to spend about 30 minutes charging your car. So the services that are bought and sold where you're at, all that's going to change. You're going to be sitting there for an experience, at the stop out by the interstate before you head up to Marion or head on up to Chicago. The way these electronic cars are set up, he says, it isn't anymore this, well, I probably got enough gas to get to Marion or got enough gas to get to Carbondale. The car's going to pretty much know, if you're going to charge it up to 85%, it's going to tell you if you can get to Chicago now, or you can get to these certain locations in the state. Since we got an interstate out here, we're probably going to talk to him again at some point in time and say, hey, kind of keep Metropolis in line, because we kind of are a jumping in point getting into the state and things like that. It'd be a cool idea. They could come down and help set something up out there, so it might be something we see in the future, you never know. Plus, of course, we distribute our own power. open up, be a nice little revenue thing probably for us to get some of these in town. So, if anybody's got any questions or any other information they want to know about Metropolis or Mazak County Enterprise Zone, just give me a call or stop by the office. But we've been pretty busy with it. Had several projects completed with some pretty good returns. Plan on trying to put something together to show some of those numbers. But currently, we're putting together our designated zone organization, which will be representatives from City of Metropolis, Village of Joplin, City of Brookport, Massac County, and then a fifth person. We'll get them together. We'll start holding our annual meetings, and we'll start putting stuff together. We can administer the zone funds and things like that. So, anyway, I appreciate your time. It was a good time. Good seeing a lot of people. I don't get to see all that often. So, thanks.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Next committee report, Water, Light, and Street, Mr. Barfield, sir.
Yes, sir, Mayor, this is from our May the 9th meeting, and I will make the motion on the following items. I will make a motion to accept the bid opening for the for the water treatment plant improvements. Do you have anything on that? I know you had a few questions you were going to ask at the last bid opening.
Yes, spoke to John this afternoon, and he is still working with the contractor. The price was a little higher than what we were expecting.
Right.
But we have an apparent low bidder, so we're still working with him, and also working with the tank manufacturer and the aerator manufacturer to try to get the prices back to where we want them. So John said he thought he would have some answers midweek, maybe mid to the end of the week. So hopefully we can come back and talk to the city at that point.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If it's all right, we'll table that, Mr. Barfield.
All right. Next item, I make a motion to accept the payment application number 7 for the 12th Street Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project in the amount of $128,851.78 to ACIX.
Motion made by Mr. Barfield, second by Mr. Canada. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to accept the final quantities for the 12th Street Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project in the amount of $30,435. It's a 28% over the estimate.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barfield, second by Mr. Lewis. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to accept Cross Connection Control Surveys allowing Phoenix Consulting to do the mass mailing in the amount of $3,000.
Motion made by Mr. Barfield, second by Mr. Neal. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to seek bids for the sale of real property. You have that ready?
And that should be in your packet.
It is.
Okay.
Well, I have a question on that. Should we have a second on that?
I'll second, go ahead, Marcus.
We have a second, and I have a question. This is 10th Street, right?
10th and Broadway also. There were substations on Broadway.
Right. I have not heard back from them yet on if they were actually going to
Gonna bid or
bid
not?
that property. It's on the street.
Well, if you make the motion, I'll just hold off until we know, and then I'll run the ads.
I think everybody was at the committee meeting except Mr. Short, and we'll try to explain that. We have an individual that is interested in an old substation property, plus the 2 small lots between D&D and Dr. Henner's. There's 2 small lots, and then Dr. Henner's has a lot. We have an individual that has supposedly approached Mr. Mason. My suggestion was him, you see what can be done, don't buy anything until you see if you can put it all together. So my suggestion is we wait to advertise this to make sure we're gonna have a bid. And then, I don't see spending the money that'd be fine.
That's
It's
fine.
not gonna happen.
Either way, I was gonna say, if you really wanted to adopt the motion, you could, and we just hold off.
Hold on to it.
I'll withdraw my motion here.
That's
Well,
fine, we'll just table it for 2
All right,
weeks.
all right.
And that way, we've kinda got a figure, we actually was in closed session, we kinda established a minimum bid, and I don't wanna put that out now, but, it's in the packet, yes, all right, good enough. So let's table that until we, hold on to that. And
Mayor, that completes our agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Barfield.
Thank you.
Next item, Industrial Committee, Mr. Canada, sir.
All right, coming out of the industrial committee on 5/9/18, we have 3 items. The first one, I'll make a motion to accept releasing clawback in the Marcel rope and rigging agreement.
Could I get you to do that with this ordinance, maybe? Or the one that I laid out in front of you tonight? And I'll explain real quick. The only reason for doing it that way, we approved, all that stuff was approved by an ordinance. So to modify that, we probably need to do it as an ordinance. And I apologize, I didn't have time to get that ready Friday, but I got it ready today.
And that would be ordinance.
It's more of a formality, but they say when you modify an ordinance, you gotta do it by an ordinance. Or if you modify an agreement approved by an ordinance, you gotta do it by an ordinance.
Be 2018-10.
-10.
All right,
My apologies for interrupting.
all right, we,
Make a motion.
yeah, and we made a motion, and we need a second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Barfield. We do have a motion, we do have a second. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the second one is I'll make a motion to accept proceeding to collection/foreclosure of the land.
I'll second that.
We do have a motion, we do have a second. Call the roll.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
And last, I'll make a motion to proceed with the Port District project at the landfill.
I'll second that.
All right, that's probably, some time out before we get to that point, before we find out exactly what they're doing, another. Think it'd be done for the next meeting, maybe, I don't think so.
No, really all that will allow us to do is to go ahead with the grant that they've applied for in our behalf.
Yeah.
So if that would come through, but I doubt we hear on that until,
He actually said that, they went over there, it would be a long time.
probably not. Their fiscal year ends in September, the federal fiscal year does, so. We should hear sometime this summer.
Yeah. So anyway, we're ahead of the game, we've approved our stuff, when they get ready, we're ready.
And then we'll bring more documents back to you, so this will give us enough authority.
As contracts and stuff like that, there will never be a contract issue that we don't, everybody up here vote on.
Understand.
And stuff like that, but this will give them the
Very good.
opportunity to proceed. On the part, Mr. Barfield, did you have,
You need to call the roll.
call the roll?
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else,
That
Mr.
should
Chandler?
conclude the industrial committee.
On department heads, I don't know how many have actually realized it, but I didn't realize it until the first of the last week. May the 15th is the day that designated to honor those officers who have lost their lives or were disabled while on duty in the police departments. In the last month or so, we've had several issues that come up, and we do need to recognize the Director of Public Service, Mr. Massey, Sheriff Ted Holder, Sergeant Carl Manley, Officer Dan Austin, and Brookport Officer Everett Mounts. Just a little bit of extra service that kind of went in beyond the call of duty in their jobs. Of course, some people would say, well, that's what they get paid to do. Yes, they do. But sometimes, in certain situations, they step up and do, and go beyond what, the scope of what they really have to do. So, we will be lowering the flags in the morning, to have mass, to honor, the officers that have gone on, performing their duties. So, we do, want to thank, our police department and all of our emergencies for, this is actually for the police department, but, you know, that brotherhood and stuff like that goes a long way, and they all go together, which we're very proud of what they do and things like that. In department heads. Harry, you have anything else?
Yes, there were 138 officers killed last year in the line of duty in the United States, 4 here in Illinois. So, like the mayor said, tomorrow is National Police Officers Memorial Day, so solemn time for us to keep wearing the badge. Also, I want to do a shout out to firefighters Hillebrand and Chris Carter. We saved one at Harrah's the other day with some CPR. She was dead when we got here, and we worked on her. I happened to be the first police officer there because I was at the fire station when the call came out, and she was dead. You know, we were able to work on her and brought her to Massac, continued working on her for about an hour, and then she got shipped over to Baptist for an emergency cap, and she's in the ICU right now, or the CCU right now, and she's still alive. So I'm pretty proud of those guys. They did a good job, and that CPR training paid off for me too. So I'm really proud of that also. I also want to thank the officers and the firemen that volunteered their time. No one was paid to do Mr. McGuire's honor guard. Every one of those guys are volunteers that were there. So I think they did a good job, and I think they made the city proud. So just some kudos to my guys.
You know, it goes back to, one thing, something like this, just one thing just brings on to something else. If you've never been, and I'm sure all of you have, but there is nothing probably, I don't think there's anything that means probably any more to the family than have that honor. They're impressive, they're very professional, and I actually got a card today in the mail from Miss McGuire, thanking all the city staff, the city employees, for the kindness and the understanding in the loss of Miss McGuire. So, you know, every once in a while, and there's probably not anybody that's tighter with a dollar than I am. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple of you inside. But anyway, you know, we do buy those uniforms for that honor guard. Chuck has seen it, it's very impressive. I'm sure it's hard for them to stand at full attention for that length of time. But they did a great job, you know, in representing the city of Metropolis, our employees. So I am proud of all of them. Frank, you gonna try to follow all that? Frank said he saved the life of one pump.
Actually, with Frank.
Enough for now, presentation.
That's all right. That's okay.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Doug, did you have anything else you need to bring up? Chad, anything else? If there, old business, new business, miscellaneous reports, financial report, payment of salaries, payroll, and contract bills.
I'll make a motion to that thing.
I'll second.
We do have a motion, we do have a second. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Payment of miscellaneous bills.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Lewis, second by Mr. Barfield.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
We don't have any need for a closed session.
Before we adjourn, I expect to see each and every one of you here at the next meeting. Don't disappoint me. Call the roll, please. We need a
I'll
motion.
make a motion. Second.
I'll second.
I was just gonna.
You want to start next meeting, and try to get rid of us tonight?
Yeah, get out of here.
I have a problem with it, don't you? Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
For any of you that I guess that, according to the information I got Sunday and stuff like that, Mr. Mizell, has, they've actually approved a donor, that was an outside, it's not connected to the family in any way, and I was told Sunday that, the individual had passed their second stages of, tests and stuff like that, so, maybe he will be, receiving a kidney here in the near future. It's gotta be true probably, they said they seen it on social media, so.
Something like that, could be. I can't, it's something like that, yeah.
No, no problem.
But I'll do it. Hopefully it's like a meeting in June. Get everything done.
Well, now, wait a second, we only got about